Now I want to show you the startup wizard. So when you're at a screen like this, just click anywhere and you see this little menu bar pops up, and I'm going to click any one part of it there. I'm going to then get rid of that, and I'm now left with this menu bar at the bottom. And if you see in the right hand corner, there's a little magic wand, it looks like, and when I hover over it, the word wizard comes up. So if I click on there, I now have the wizard that you would find when you first start up the system. Now, the very first time you come across this, it would then expect you to create a password. You can have the system running without a password. Now, I wouldn't advise that. So having that white, which means it's selected, means you use the password. Go to the next, and here it allows you to select the language, what video standard you're using. In this country it's PAL. I've not actually got a TV connected, so it doesn't really matter so much. The resolution, which is adjustable, the time zone, Greenwich Mean Time here, and the date format, and the device name. You could give it another name because if you've got this connected to your TV, then when you go to the various HDMI inputs, you can have this one calling itself Swann or security system, whatever else you like. And then below here, I've blanked it off. There's this unique identity for this system. Next. Now, before you set up this system for the first time, it would be a really good idea to create an email address, especially for this machine. And that email address could be a gmail.com email address, an outlook.com email address, or a yahoo.com email address. I've set up a Gmail one. And then, depending which one you've selected, you may have to adjust these boxes. Now, some of them you don't need to change because they are defaults, but the instructions are pretty clear, and I didn't have to think twice about setting that side up. But as a word of advice, get that email address set up before you start trying to set up the system. Makes life a lot easier. So there we are. And with that email address, there will be a password, and there we have the password. Now, bear in mind when you're setting up the email address on probably using your computer system in the home, the password has to have lowercase letters and numbers. It doesn't do uppercase. You can't do uppercase on the little keyboard that pops up on this system, at least not as far as I'm aware. So keep to lowercase and numbers. And then the recipient address, now that is if you want this system to send emails to you to say, oh, somebody is breaking into your property, or I've detected something, whatever it might be, there's an email address there. I've hidden this because that is one of my private email addresses. And then you've got options about attaching pictures, etc., where you can go back and change these, what interval it might be, and so on. I haven't looked at that at all, and it's something you can play around with later. So continuing with the wizard, we go on to the next screen, and here you have some things which I've not changed. It's asking for server addresses and what port numbers, etc. I haven't had to do any of that. It just set it up for me as I was going through. And system date and time, that I found was done automatically once it connected to the internet. Now the next screen is DST, which is daylight saving time. And then that's it. That's a quick trip through the wizard. Finish, and it's done. And now you can see we've got the 4 cameras producing the images. There's lots more things you can do through the system menu. Now I'm not going to go through the whole menu system, just a couple of selected ones which I think are important. If you want to look for a particular recording, you can say, well, I want to look at camera 3 and I want to look in the time period. This is today's date, incidentally, up until today's time. So should be quite a few bits and pieces to see. And I'll do the search here. And here are all the bits of recording that have been done on camera 3 today. And let me quickly look at this one. I double click on there, and this is what was being recorded on camera 3 at that time that I selected. And here you can see what triggered the event. It was me moving around, setting things up earlier. So I can get out of that quite simply, exit, bottom right hand side. I've finished with that, so I can just X out at the top, or I can go to another menu. And here you've got alarms. Now these are quite important because if a camera stops working or if something happens, you need to be alerted. You may not be here. So I've set for channel 1, I've enabled an alarm, the schedule, I can set it, and here you can see I've got Sunday down to Saturday, and everything is in red, so therefore anything that happens in the whole week, every week, is going to be considered. I'll just exit out of that bit. Action, if something happens, I can either have an audio warning or I can have an email sent. Having an email sent, that means that whilst you're away, you can have alerts sent to you. There's just one other menu option I want to show you, and that is the ability to take recordings away from the system on a memory stick. And here's a USB stick here. It has to be formatted in FAT32, and it can be up to 32 gigabytes in size. I think this one is probably 4 gigabytes. And I'm going to plug it in to one of the USB ports at the back. If you remember, there are 2 USB ports at the back, one at the front, and I've got the front one in use with the mouse. So I'll plug this one in at the back. So we're back on that screen. I'm going to go to the menu. So I've got the menu there. I want to go to search, and if you look, the second tab along is backup, and now I can choose the camera, and for sake of argument I'll choose camera 3, and it then gives me the ability to change the date range and the time range for which I want to look, and I'm leaving it for the whole of today. If I press backup, it now offers everything that's happened in that time period. Now I'm going to unselect some of them. So I've got, I think it's 5 selected there, and if I click next, and I can now start saving it to that USB device. It's asking me if I want to overwrite the previous one. I'll say yes, and so now it's recording all those ones I selected onto that USB stick. And once that's finished recording, I can take that USB stick out of the back of the DVR, pop it in my pocket, and take it to the local police station and say, do you recognise Bob the burglar by any chance? Or whatever it might be. Now one reminder is that you can do almost anything you want to do using your mobile phone. Now, I have never installed a system like this before in my life, and I must confess I was a little bit nervous about doing it and setting it up because I thought I might come across, I don't know, some technical gobbledygook that I just didn't understand. The instructions are actually easy to understand, but the way that the printing's been done isn't the absolute best, and I've had to use a magnifying glass to look at some of these little screenshots because they're just a little bit small. But I don't think that's a factor. I've managed with no problem at all, despite my failing eyesight. There are separate instructions for setting up the system itself and setting up your mobile device. Now, one thing that I've done is I've set up my iPhone to be able to talk to this. I've got an iPad as well. I've not managed to get that set up yet, because I'm not quite sure which is the best application to use on my iPad. Right, so we've fast forwarded, the kit's gone, it's all installed, just me and Bob the burglar left. And I came to a stage where I needed to get some support from Swann, so I made a normal inquiry to their support team, asking them a couple of questions. And at this stage, they didn't know that I was making a video, so that there was nothing set up in advance. I got responses within 24 hours, first by email, and then when I asked a more complicated question, and still they didn't know what I was doing, they said, oh, we'll give you a call. And they rang me at a time of day which was agreed between the two of us, And it was only then that I told them I was making a video about this product. And the particular things that I was concerned about was, if I've got an iPhone, what is the right bit of software to use, or the right app rather, to install, and it is called Swann Link. I needed to know which is the right one to install on an iPad, because Swann Link is only suitable for the iPhone, and for an iPad it's Swann Link. And I also was given advice about what software to install on the PC, and in fact, if you follow the right sort of routine through their support page on their website, you come to this very simply. And there's a program for a Windows PC called Swann Link Windows, and that currently the latest version is version 2.1.2.43. So I got all of that, and from each of those packages you can not only look at the live view wherever you might be, and I've already shown you that with my iPhone, but you can also go backwards in time and look at individual cameras or the whole setup. And just look at what happened yesterday, 2 days ago, or whenever it might be. The PC package, I think, is a work in progress. I talked to them about this and they agreed that it's something that they are trying to refine and develop further. It could be improved. Tooltips, when you hover the mouse over a particular button, sometimes there's a tooltip there that tells you what might happen if you press the button, and other times there aren't. Little things like that, but all things that makes a PC package that much more professional. So what do I think of it? Well, you saw how easy it was to set up. It's in and working now. I'm sorry, I'm not going to show you it in use, because this video is not designed to help any potential burglar to my property. But I can just assure you it worked just as well when it's installed as it did when you saw it set up here. So from Bob the Burglar and me, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.